After I graduated high school, getting accepted into one of the country's top universities felt like a dream. It was renowned for its academic excellence, yet from the moment I set foot on campus, I sensed something was off. The sprawling Gothic buildings, draped in ivy, exuded an eerie vibe, especially as dusk settled. The old lecture halls and libraries possessed a haunting silence, and whispers of strange occurrences floated through the corridors. Logical as I was, I dismissed them as mere rumors. The university flaunted its elite faculty and high-achieving students, but beneath its polished veneer lurked darker tales. Most infamous was the story of Karla, a student who had taken her life in the dormitories years earlier. They said she was overwhelmed by the immense pressure to succeed, combined with personal struggles shrouded in mystery. Desperate to protect its reputation, the university had buried the incident, not wanting a blemish on its flawless record. My first few weeks passed without much incident, save for the heavy workload and adjusting to campus life. But as the semester progressed, I started noticing unsettling things. It began subtly, doors creaking open on their own, faint whispers when I was alone in the library late at night. I dismissed it all as mere exhaustion and stress. University life was, after all, demanding. One night, while burning the midnight oil in the nearly deserted library, I felt an intense sensation of being watched. The air turned frigid, and the lights above me flickered ominously. Glancing up from my books, I saw a shadowy figure at the far end of the aisle. My heart pounded, but when I blinked, it vanished. I convinced myself it was just my overworked mind playing tricks. But the strange occurrences didn't stop. One evening, returning to my dorm room, I found a sticky note on my door that simply read, "She's still here." A cold wave of fear washed over me. None of my friends confessed to leaving the note, all feigning ignorance when I asked. That night, sleep eluded me as the image of Karla loomed large in my mind. A few days later, I overheard some upperclassmen whispering about the dormitory where Karla had lived. They spoke in hushed tones, mentioning that anyone who stayed there alone would experience something, though no one could explain exactly what. Desperate for answers, I began researching Karla's story, even though the university had scrubbed almost all mentions of her from official records. What I found was chilling. Karla had been a top student, pressured by her family and professors to excel. She was frequently seen studying late into the night, just like I had been. But something had pushed her over the edge, something no one could fully explain. I began to suspect that Karla's ghost might be lingering on campus, still trapped by the same pressures that led to her tragic end. I wasn't the only one who believed it. Other students had their own experiences. Some spoke of hearing sobbing in empty rooms, while others described seeing the fleeting image of a young woman in a white dress at the end of dark hallways. One evening, while working late in the library again, the whispers started up once more. This time, they were louder, almost as if someone was right next to me, whispering into my ear. I shot up from my seat, my heart racing, and looked around. The library was empty, but the temperature dropped noticeably, and I could see my breath in the air. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw her. A pale figure standing just a few feet away, her hair hanging loosely over her face. Her eyes, hollow and filled with despair, locked onto mine. My blood ran cold. Before I could react, she vanished, leaving behind only a cold breeze that rustled the pages of my notebook. I grabbed my things and bolted out of the library, my mind racing. I couldn't shake the image of her face, the emptiness in her eyes, the way her presence felt like a heavy weight pressing down on my chest. I tried to forget what I saw, but the encounters only grew more intense. One night, as I walked back to my dorm after a study session, I saw something on the path ahead. At first, I thought it was just another student, but as I got closer, I realized it was her, Karla. She stood there, motionless, her eyes fixed on me. I froze, unsure of what to do. Then, as I took a step forward, she slowly raised her hand and pointed toward the old dormitory where she had lived. Her expression was one of pain, as if she was trying to tell me something, but no words came out. I didn't sleep that night. My mind kept replaying the encounter, trying to make sense of it. What did she want from me? Why was she showing herself to me? I felt like I was being pulled deeper into her story, like she needed me to understand what had happened to her. The final straw came during finals week. The stress of exams was overwhelming, and I was staying up late almost every night. One night, as I sat at my desk in my dorm room, the familiar chill from the library returned. The lights flickered, and the door to my room slowly creaked open. My heart pounded as I stared at the door, waiting for something to happen. Then I heard it, the soft sound of footsteps followed by a faint whisper. "Help me." I turned, and there she was, standing in the doorway. Her face pale, her eyes filled with sadness, and her hand trembling as she reached out. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. Then, just as quickly as she had appeared, she vanished. The door slammed shut, and the room returned to normal. After that, I knew I couldn't stay in the dorms any longer. I finished my exams and moved off campus, renting a small apartment in town. Though I still saw Karla from time to time, she never came as close as that night in my dorm room. I eventually graduated, but the memories of Karla and my experiences at that university still haunt me. I later learned that Karla's death had been covered up by the university to protect its reputation. The immense pressures she faced had been too much to bear, trapping her spirit there, unable to find peace. I often wonder if she's still there, wandering the halls, searching for someone to help her. Every time I think of that university, a chill runs down my spine.